Chapter 1, Mishnah 3. This Mishnah is a continuation of the last Mishnah. When are these things of the previous Mishnah said? Only in mixtures of obligatory pairs and voluntary olah offerings. Only then do we say that the number of birds that can be brought as olos is the number of olos that are in the obligatory pairs. But in the case of obligatory pairs that became mixed with each other, such as a case where one pair was separated for this woman and one pair was separated for this other woman, or 2 pairs were separated for this woman and 2 pairs were separated for this other woman, or 3 pairs were separated for this woman and 3 pairs were separated for this other woman, or in any other case where a number of undesignated pairs separated for one woman and became mixed with an equal number of undesignated pairs separated for another woman, the law is that half the birds in the mixture are fit to be offered and the remaining half are unfit to be offered. That is, we take half the birds in the mixture and offer half of them, a quarter of the total, as chatas, and the other half of them, a quarter of the total, as olos. The law when the 2 groups of undesignated pairs that become mixed are not equal. If 1 pair was separated for this woman and 2 pairs were separated for this other woman, or 3 pairs were separated for this other woman, or if 10 pairs were separated for this woman and 100 pairs were separated for this other woman, in all these cases, the smallest number of pairs in the mixture is fit to be offered, half as chatas and half as olos. Thus, in the Mishnah's first example, where one woman had separated 1 pair, 2 birds, and the other woman had separated 2 pairs, 4 birds, or 3 pairs, 6 birds, 2 birds can be offered, one as a chatas and one as an olah. This is because even in the worst case scenario, that both birds belong to the same woman, offering 1 chatas and 1 olah is valid, but a second chatas or olah cannot be offered, since it might be the second chatas or olah being offered from the first woman's birds, which cannot be done, since her 1 pair must be no more than 1 chatas and 1 olah. The Mishnah has just given the rule for pairs that cannot be combined into one large group together. It gave the example of where several pairs had been separated for one woman and several pairs for another. It now says that this is not the only example. The rule will apply in all cases that there is a reason the mixed groups cannot be treated like a single large group. The rulings above that each group of pairs must be considered separately can apply whether the 2 groups of pairs were separated for 1 type of obligation or for 2 types of obligation, whether they were separated by 1 woman or separated by 2 women. The next Mishnah goes on to explain this in further detail.